Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Scouse Crafter podcast. Before I go any further and talk about any yarny things or books or anything like that, I just want to say an enormous, massive thank you to everyone who's watched my previous video or videos. The response I've had has been just off the chart. I did not expect, well, I maybe thought like 20 or 30 people would watch it, so to have had all the wonderful comments and likes and people subscribing to these videos is just absolutely amazing, and I've been absolutely blown away. I have read everyone's messages. I'm sorry if I haven't replied to you yet. I do intend to reply to everyone. But yeah, like I say, it's all just been a little bit overwhelming, if I'm honest, in a lovely way. Please do keep commenting and liking and subscribing. It's been really, really lovely to hear from so many people and to hear from people all over the world. Like, I didn't even think it'd go beyond the people who I know from my local area. So to have comments from people in Canada and Australia and Germany, and yeah, absolutely mind-blowing. But I guess it just shows the power of the knitting world and the knitting community, and it's been lovely to be so welcomed onto YouTube by people, and yeah, it just makes me feel part of something really lovely. Not that I didn't before, but yeah, just an enormous thank you. So how are you all? I hope everyone is well. My shift pattern at work is working 10 days in 11, so I do 6 days on, have a day off, work 4 days, and then I have 3 days off. So I'm right in the midst of that stretch, so this is my only day off this week. I'm off again next weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, I didn't want to leave it another week to do a little video, so there won't be any fancy editing or anything like that. To be honest, I don't know how to do that yet, so we're just going to turn the camera on, have a good chat, and then I'll get this up on YouTube for whoever would like to watch it. I have brought a drink with me today. I did sort of wonder why podcasters always have a cup of tea or something with them, but I can already tell that my voice is going a little bit. I'm not used to talking this much all at once, although my husband would disagree with that. So today I've got my Betty's Fat Rascal mug with some nice Clipper green tea in it. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a massive Emma Bridgewater fan. Kind of don't like drinking my tea out of a cup that isn't an Emma Bridgewater cup. There's something about the shape, the weight, the patterns, the feel of it, and it just keeps your tea nice and hot. So yeah, this is Betty's Fat Rascal. For anyone who doesn't know, a Fat Rascal is, well, Betty's is based in Yorkshire. Pastry started out as like a patisserie and confectioners, and now they've got restaurants and things. Their fondant fancies are just out of this world. During lockdown, I did discover you could have them delivered to your house, which was just absolutely lethal. But a Fat Rascal is almost like a big scone or a rock cake, but they do a little decoration on the top which you can see on here. So these on a real Fat Rascal would be cherries, and then these are almonds, so it looks like a face with funny teeth kind of thing. Well, that's how I've always seen it. But yeah, this was a special Emma Bridgewater one done for Betty's. I think it's a second, but not that you'd really be able to tell. You'll probably see a wide variety of Emma Bridgewater mugs throughout the year. I do have different ones for different times of the year, which I think is actually a thing with Emma Bridgewater fans. It's not just me being awkward and having an enormous stash of cups. I'm quite excited to get my Halloweeny autumny cup, which was a special present from my husband last year. And yeah, so soon, hopefully, waiting for the bare months, the summer mugs with sweet peas and yellow sunshines and things will all be put away. and the autumn ones will be coming out. I suppose this is a bit autumny, isn't it? Anyway, what have we been up to since 2 weeks ago? I haven't got a massive finished object. I guess that might become a bit of an issue if I do this every 2 weeks, because I can't really finish things quick enough. I did mention the top secret project when it came to Bertie the tortoise, and thank you for the love for Bertie. Yeah, loads of the comments were just like, oh my god, he's gorgeous. And when I did take him with me to the meeting for the project, everyone absolutely adored him. So I was really pleased. It was quite painful giving him away. So I can maybe see another Bertie in my future. But yeah, we'll see. I'm slightly obsessed with a different project at the moment, which we'll come on to in a minute. So once I show you these, you'll probably get what the secret project is. Part of next year is going to be a gaming section with Mario. So I discovered a free pattern online for Mario mushrooms, which is super cute. And so far I've made a red one and a blue one, and I'm in the process of making a green one, and I'm going to make like a yellowy gold one as well. If I can work out how to put links, because I think I need to verify myself or something, because I'm quite new to YouTube, but if I can work out how to do that, I will put the link to these, because they're quite cute. And if you've got friends, kids or relatives who like Mario, I imagine they'd quite like one of these. There you go. Really straightforward to do, nice and easy. And you just change colour between the white and the red. So there's no, you don't have to sew this part on top. The only sewing is the eyes and the mushroom spots. But yeah, really cute, really easy. I did this one in a couple of hours. I've used 2 strands of DK held together for this, and like a slightly chunky red. So I'm not sure how small they'd be actually if you just use 1 strand of DK. Maybe a little bit too small. But they were on a 4.5mm hook. Just with the white I used was this one, New Fashion double knitting, which is 100% acrylic. I think my mum gave it to me because she found it somewhere. It's one of those, like, I don't really see this label. I don't know where I've seen this label in any shops, but yeah, I think it's quite easy to come by. Any white acrylic would do the job. But they're my little mushrooms, so they're going to one side, ready to be delivered next time I can go to one of the meetings. So unfortunately they're every first Saturday of every month, and because I work alternate weekends it doesn't always fall, so I think it's November I can go to the next one, so that gives me time to make a few things. I'm going to be working on like a joint project with one of the ladies to make some pirates and mermaids, because we've both got the same King Cole pattern book, so I need to pull my finger out and crack on with them. These were a bit off-piste, but I enjoyed making them. Right, put them there. This chair behind me is, we call it the Sherlock chair. It's just like a next wing back armchair, and that's where I sit to do a lot of my crafting, especially in the winter, because it's nice and cozy, and yeah, you feel quite snuggly when you're sitting in that chair. So last week I talked about wanting to start the halibut sweater, and I was going to make a green halibut with my yarn that I'd bought from France, and then had to top up with yarn from Poland. Yeah, the best laid plans, that all just went out the window. And I've started something else, and I am absolutely addicted to this project. I have never made this much progress in a week in my entire life. Sorry, I feel a bit like, I don't know if it's hay fever or something. I've just been for a big long walk along the front, and yeah, anyway. So this is the Ooey Gooey sweater by Andrea Mowry. I'm sure everyone will have seen it. I need to work out how to put pictures in. Something else I need to learn. My friend's quite good on technology, and once the kids go back to school, because he's got a little boy he's looking after, he's going to show me how to do a few things on computers. Not because I'm completely incompetent. I've worked on computers for a lot of my life, and I do know how they work, and I'm good at working things out, but sometimes I just don't have the mental capacity to try and do it. So yeah, I don't know what that says about me. But anyway, this is the Ooey Gooey sweater from Andrea Mowry. You can't really see, it's hard to show it because for some reason it's all sort of curled up on the cable. There you go. So this part with the welts sits just round the top of the neck, and then there's the colour work that goes down, which she describes as being like drippy, like jam, or which is where the name Ooey Gooey comes from. And then there'll be like little circles that go round. Yeah, I've never made an Andrea Mowry pattern before, but I'm really enjoying it. I've always had my eye on is it the wool and honey, where it looks like a honeycomb across the front, but it's in reverse stocking stitch, and for some reason I don't like it. It looks like your jumper's inside out, but that's my personal preference. Some people love it, I'm sure, and like, it's a gorgeous jumper, but I'd probably have to try and reverse engineer it so that it wasn't like back to front. But anyway, back to this one. The reason I hadn't started it, okay, sorry, let's go back to the beginning. When I went to Yarndale last year, there's a stall called Northern Yarn, and they have a yarn shop in Lancaster, which unfortunately I've not had a chance to go and visit yet, but I would like to one day. And they had this yarn called Ooey Sport. It is, look at me with me yarn labels, being all professional. It says 2021 clip, sport weight, 2 British breeds, 2 local farms, spun in Yorkshire. So I guess you can't get much more British wool, supporting British wool. Ooey is a woolen spun blend of Pol, Dorset, Shearling and Zwartbles fleeces from farms local to us here in Lancashire. The fleeces were hand-picked and spun in Cornwall. Oh, that says spun in Yorkshire. Alright, anyway. Still British. Each skein is 100 grams, and there's approximately 304 metres per 100 grams, which I think is like a true sport weight. Is sport sort of like a standard sport is 300, isn't it? So they only had 2 colours, which is why my Ooey Gooey is in a very ungemmer purpley pink. Looks a bit more pink on camera than it is in real life, but yeah. So the colours I'm using are these ones. So the grey is gorgeous, it's like a really heathered grey, and then the purple is lovely, and you can see bits of the dark. It's like a heathered purple because the dark is coming through. I think one of those 2 types of sheep is like a black sheep, isn't it? Maybe the Pol Dorset based on that picture. Oh, it's not zooming, not focusing, is it? No. Right. So anyway, I decided I wanted to start this project. I did cake the yarn when I first decided I wanted to make it, which was probably about 6 months ago. And then when I came to start it, it said I needed a 2.75mm needle to do the rib. And it turns out that Knit Pro, which is who all my needles are by, you can't get a 2.75 that fits on these cables. I think because this bit that you'd attach it to is already bigger than that. So my options were to buy a 2.75 on a fixed and use magic loop. It would have gotten too big to do it on DPNs, or I was going to need to go down the route of maybe Chow Goose. I spoke to my lovely friend Michaela from A Modern Yarn. Hello, Michaela. And she said Chow Goose have different cables that will fit smaller needles. I'm not an expert, so if anyone's interested in Chow Goose needles, speak to Michaela at A Modern Yarn, or I'm sure there's lots of videos on here explaining how they work. But Chow Goose needles are quite expensive, and I didn't know if I was going to enjoy using them. I didn't know how far I was going to get with the project. And also, when you're making a jumper in the round like this, you need obviously a certain sized cable to do the neck, and then you need, unless you're going to do magic loop on your cuffs, you need a little tiny one to do your cuffs as well, because I don't get on with magic loop. Like, I'll do it if I have to. I made like a baby jumper once and I did magic loop for the sleeves on that, but it's not my favourite thing in the world. So yeah, I just took an executive decision and decided to just do the rib in a 3mm needle, which might come back to haunt me, but who knows. It was the size I had. I was desperate to start, and I'm sure many of you can sympathise with just wanting to get on with the project, and it just seemed like a faff to wait for, to be messing about with all different needles. And I've messed up. It does look quite light and loosey, like you can, it probably could have done with being tighter. But the joy of a top down jumper does mean you can try it on as you go, and I have tried this on, and I don't mind how that looks. I wouldn't want it to sit really close to my neck, and the depth and everything for the yoke is done on a measurement, so it's not like you're trying to, she doesn't tell you the number of rows of rib to do. You do it until it reaches a certain depth, which, so I know that this is how deep it would have been even on a 3mm needle, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I've never done welts before, and I think I've done quite a good job. There is one little bit where they go a bit twisted, where like the bottom welt sort of leans off to one side. I don't know if you can really see that, but I've never done it before, and yeah, if anyone's standing close enough to me that they can see that the welt is a bit wonky, then either mind your own business or don't stand so close to me, I suppose. So I'm nearly done with the colour work on the body, or on the neck anyway. I've just got one more row, and then there's a few more increase rounds, then the rounds for the little spots, and then I'm on to the splittings for the sleeves. So I'm making fantastic progress with it, and I'm really pleased with how it's coming on. I'd like it done for Yarndale. That is my goal. I'm going to say it's a stretch goal, because jumpers do take me a while, and I've never knitted a jumper on needles. I've got 3.5mm needles for it. Most jumpers I've made in the past have been on a 4 or bigger. Like my ankle sweaters on a 5.5. I think the Celebrate sweater I made from the 52 weeks of scrap yarn, that was on a 4.5. So yeah, this is a new undertaking for me, but I'm enjoying it. The yarn I would describe, I'm not going to say it's scratchy, I'm going to say it's rustic, which when I was at catering college, if we ever made something that looked a little bit untidy, Bill, the teacher, used to say, oh, it's okay, it's just rustic. So yeah, I'm going to say it's rustic instead. It feels a bit scratchy next to my skin. I probably wouldn't want something that's really, really tight, like to my neck, or maybe a hat would be okay. I look like a weirdo, don't I? But I'm hoping once it's washed, it'll soften up a little bit. I'm sure it will. But yeah, this is the Ooey Gooey. I will continue making my progress on it, Oh yeah, and I'll just show you these. These are my little needle stoppers, my little llamas or alpacas. I'm not sure the difference. I need to look that up. These were from Beehive Yarns, but a long time ago. But I'm sure you can get something similar from online or other nice yarny people who sell this kind of thing. But yeah, I love these. So yeah, this project has basically taken over my life this week. If anyone follows me on Instagram, I'll put it in the details if you wanted to look me up. Yeah, I've been sitting of a morning, getting up early for work, sitting of a morning, doing a little bit of this, catching up on YouTube. I've been catching up with Amanda from Little Likac Yarns, and I've been watching Amber from A Lovely Yarn. I really like watching Amber. There's just something really, she's quite soothing when you watch Amber. It's really nice. And I know Little Likac are going to be at the Port Sunlight Yarn Festival next week, so that'll be nice. I've not used their yarn before, so I think I might have to have a little look at her stall and see what nice things she's got. So that's the Ooey Gooey. That can go down there. And that is being housed, I've shown this bag before, in my handmade project bag with all my little pins on it. There's nothing else exciting in here, I don't think. Just my West Knits gauge checker. Don't quite know why I've got that, because I don't do a gauge swatch, but yeah. So because I've not worked on anything much this week apart from that, I say not much, I've made loads of progress, but I haven't got any other whips to show you. That does not mean by any stretch that I haven't got other whips. I have got, how many have I got? Maybe 4 other whips, but none of them have seen any work on them this week, because that has been my priority project, I suppose. So I've decided I'm going to show you, I'm going to copy Ellie from Craft House Magic, and I'm going to have a bit of a blast from the past section. So there is a point, I've actually got 2 blasts from the past today, but as I get into showing you them and talking about them, you'll understand why I've chosen to show them this week. So the first one is this. And this is the Painting Triangles by Stephen West. As we go through these blasts from the past, you'll see that I have made quite a few Stephen West things. I don't want to get into whether we should be making Stephen West or not, and I know that people might have opinions about him, but yeah, I don't really want to go into that. It was looking at Stephen West shawls that made me want to become a knitter. I've crocheted for a long time, but when I started watching people on YouTube and getting involved more in the yarn community, I did see a lot of Stephen West shawls, and I just thought, oh my goodness, I want to be able to make them. They're like a work of art. And so yeah, I started off with the Boneyard shawl. Maybe I should have shown that first, but anyway. And I didn't ever think I could make something like this, and I have, and I love it. So this is one of my most worn shawls in the winter. So as I've explained, these are sort of the colours. I wear a lot of brown, a lot of blue and green, like earthy colours. And this, I absolutely loved knitting this. So the yarn I've used is John Arbon Knit by Numbers 4-ply, but I haven't got the ball bands. I did check my Ravelry project page to see if I'd put what the colour numbers were or what the colours were, but I've just put brown and yellow, which isn't very helpful, is it? But yeah, we'll get better at doing that kind of thing in the future. So this, I didn't know, but it's mosaic knitting. Now, if someone had said, oh, you're going to do mosaic knitting, I think I'd have gone, oh, I don't know how to do that. But it's actually really quite straightforward. You've just got to make sure you've got your yarn either in the front or in the back. I got this pattern from the Painting Shawls book, which I bought in an online sale at Stephen and Penelope when I think I was getting something else, and I was begrudging paying the delivery just for a couple of things, so I got the book as well. And I think the one in the book's all multicoloured, but that's just not really my thing. So I did it in 2 colours and I absolutely love it. It's one of these where you start at the small end with this like striped edge and then an I-cord on the other side. And then the number of triangles increases all the way up. And quite interestingly, when you get to the top, it's just like a garter border, which is actually really nice because I don't think you need anything else because of the triangles, and it like echoes the lines on the triangles. So yeah, that's my Painting Triangles by Stephen West, and I absolutely love it, and it's so cozy, and the triangle shape makes it really easy to wear as well. So this used 1 and a bit skeins of each colour. You can make it whatever size you want, but this size was 1 and a bit skeins of each colour. So I had quite a decent chunk of yarn left. I do need to get better at weighing. I realise that it's the kind of thing people ask, isn't it? But anyway, I wanted to use them up to make something else rather than having them sitting there. So when Stephen West has his annual pattern sale for his birthday, which happens to be the same day as my birthday, I bought a copy of his Best Knits Shawls #1, I think. West Knits Best Knits, something like that. It's the one with the Rockefeller and the Chrysler shawl in, because they're both on my list of things to make, although I've not done intarsia before, which I think the Rockefeller shawl is. So I'm going to practice on something smaller first. But one of the shawls in there was the striped Esjan shawl, and you can make it in 2 sizes, and it doesn't actually use that much yarn. Now the pattern, the picture in the book is all pink and speckly and very Stephen West colours, but I decided to use the remaining yellow and brown, but then do something a little bit crazy at the border. I'll try and show you this without dipping it in my tea. So these around the edge are massive eyelets. I think you do like yarn over like 7 or 8 times to do these massive eyelets. But I wanted something to really pop against the gold and the brown. So I used this. And the reason I've chosen to show you these this week is because this yarn is from a yarn dyer called Lottie Knits, and she's going to be at the Port Sunlight Yarn Festival on Saturday. So there is that was the reason, because I know a few people have messaged on my video saying that they're going to be at Port Sunlight on Saturday, and if you've not used Lottie's yarn before or looked at Lottie's yarn, I definitely recommend it because her colours are just absolutely gorgeous. So this is her Suri lace, and that's what I've used to do the border. It's quite hard to show the colours because it's so airy, but it's called Passion Fruit. So it's got like purple and green and little flashes of gold and things in it, but it's absolutely gorgeous to knit with. And Lottie was so lovely because it was at Port Sunlight last year that I bought this yarn, but I took this project with me and I wasn't quite up to that part yet, but I worked on it on the train over, and I asked for her help and she was fantastic. I was holding this against all the different colours of the different Suri lace that she did, and we settled on this one for it, and I absolutely adore it. It's a bit crackers. It's quite, I suppose I'd call it quite flamboyant, especially the way it like ruffles along the bottom, and that is not me at all. Anyone who knows me and knows what kind of clothes I wear, I don't wear anything frilly or glittery or anything like that, so I don't know quite why I love this so much, but I do. I adore wearing it, and there's something about these colours in this lace that just really makes me happy. Yeah, and the John Arbon knit by numbers, oh my goodness, it's so soft and so snuggly, and it blocks absolutely gorgeous. I'd definitely recommend it if you've not used John Arbon before. I definitely recommend it, especially if a few people have said they're going to Yarndale, and John Arbon always has the most amazing massive stand at Yarndale. And the lovely Faye, I don't know if anyone watches Brew from the Bothy podcast that Faye does. She's usually there on the stall at the weekend, and she's absolutely lovely and really fantastic at helping you put colours together and guide you on how much yarn you might need to buy, or things that you can make, and give you inspiration, and generally just have a little chat and give you a little squish. And yeah, if you've not used John Arbon and you're going to Yarndale, definitely pop over to the John Arbon stall and say hi to Faye, and yeah, ask for her help in some colours, because you won't be disappointed with the yarn. It's gorgeous to knit with, and it's lovely and soft once it's blocked and opened out. I have got a few more things that I've made in John Arbon. Well, I've got one other thing I've made in John Arbon, and I've got yarn put to one side for some other things that I want to make that I haven't made yet. So I will show you another John Arbon project as a blast from the past quite soon. But yeah, double whammy this week, 2 blasts from the past. And like I say, if you're going to Port Sunlight, go and visit Lottie and have a look at her colours. There's just something so gorgeous about them, like so, I don't know, this will sound weird, but the colours look silky, even though it's wool. That sounds really bizarre, but if you see it in real life, you might know what I mean. So yeah, that's the blast from the past. Two lovely Stephen West shawls that I do wear a lot, and from here they look quite similar, but just that lovely pop of pink. So I haven't got any other works in progress to show you. I don't want to use up all my blasts from the past too quick, because I'll need them for future videos, because there's no way that jumper's going to be finished by next week or the week after, depending on when it is I come back. I might have to do some other little different types of videos in between. Maybe next week, if I do one next week, it might be a Port Sunlight haul video if I buy things, which of course I'm going to buy things. But I'm also going to London very soon to see Jesus Christ Superstar, with hopefully, fingers crossed, with Sam Ryder in, because I've had it before where I've been down to London to see a show, and I know you shouldn't, but I've gone to see a particular person, went to see Sheridan Smith in Funny Girl, and unfortunately she wasn't well. So the understudy was amazing, she got a standing ovation, and Sheridan Smith did tour in Funny Girl the year later, I think, so I did get to see her in it. But obviously, travelling all the way down from here to go and see a show, it was a bit disappointing, so I'm not getting my hopes up about seeing Sam Ryder in the show, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And similarly to with Sheridan Smith, the Jesus Christ Superstar with Sam Ryder is going on tour next year and visiting the Empire Theatre, which is the local sort of big West End production theatre near us. And funnily enough, they announced the tour the day after we'd bought our tickets for London, which was a little bit annoying because London's not cheap and we've had to buy a train and pay for the hotel and book the expensive tickets. I probably could have gone, 2 of us could have gone to see it in Liverpool for the price of 1 ticket to see it in London, but I'm trying to just see it as us having a nice time and a couple of days away. And I'm hoping to go and see the Schiaparelli exhibition at the V&A. We just need to book our tickets. And we're staying really close to Beautiful Knitters. I don't know if anyone's been to the shop. I know my sister-in-law has, and she loved it. And I'm very excited. But that does mean yarn shopping on Saturday and yarn shopping on Tuesday or Wednesday, which not sure my bank balance can cope, especially this close to Yarndale. So I'm going to have to write a little bit of a list, or just restrain myself a little bit and not go too crazy. So before I say goodbye, and go and get something for my dinner. John's made bread. He makes bread most weeks, and this week I had a hankering for toast, which I know sounds weird, but when he spent all that time making handmade bread, I feel bad if I then make toast out of it, but I can't help it. I need toast this week, so I'm probably gonna have cheese on toast. Pizza is like one of my ultimate favourite foods, and I feel like cheese on toast is like cheeky pizza, because cheese on toast, everyone has cheese on toast, but it is like a pizza because it's cheese on bread. So yeah, I think that's my plan for my lunch. But before I go, I just wanted to mention a couple of books that I've been reading. I know a few people had commented saying that they were looking up the authors that I've mentioned in previous videos, or they were going to track down one or two of the books, and that was really like quite touching. But I suppose, yeah, you do get book recommendations off strangers, don't you? That's sometimes how you can discover a book that you really like. But it was really nice that people would, I'm going to say trust me, but maybe that's not the right word, but just be grateful for a recommendation. It's hard, isn't it, recommending things to people? I'm always quite careful about not giving books, to be like forcing a book on someone, because you don't want them to think that they have to like it when they don't. I know there's been some books over the years that it feels like the whole world likes it and I've not enjoyed it. So yeah, you don't want to force that on someone else, do you? Just have another little swig of my tea. Oh, I can hear something buzzing outside the window, but I don't think it's coming in. Yeah. So since I last spoke to you, I have finished a book on my Kindle. I haven't got a cover for it or anything because it's come through NetGalley, so it doesn't have all the usual like graphics and things. But the book was called The Golden Years by Louisa Young. Have any of you read the Cazalet Chronicles by Elizabeth Jane Howard? I was introduced to them during lockdown because I was always listening to like book podcasts and interviews with authors and things like that, and they'd often be asked, what's your comfort read? What you turn to when things are a bit tough, which they were for a lot of people during lockdown. And quite a few of them mentioned the Cazalet Chronicles. Now, I'd never heard of it before, but it's basically a 5-volume story about the Cazalet family, and it just follows them through history, and each book takes a different period of time. So I think it starts just after the First or Second World War. I should have looked this up, shouldn't I? It's been a while since I've read them, but it follows the family. So there's a sister and 3 brothers and their wives and then their children, and as the kids grow up, it follows their lives as well. If you like a good family saga, definitely recommend the Cazalet Chronicles. I think it's quite widely available because it has been out. I think the first one was written maybe in the 60s, 70s, but it's great. There's a lot of characters to follow and keep up with, but I like that because you get really attached to them all. So anyway, The Golden Years is by Louisa Young, and she actually knew Elizabeth Jane Howard. I think there's some kind of family connection, like her uncle was married to her brother, or some uncle wasn't married to her brother. Her uncle was married into her family or something. But she's been commissioned by the estate to write a follow-up book to the Cazalets, and it genuinely felt like I was reading Elizabeth Jane Howard again, which was just really weird, because if you've been with an author through 5 books, and they're not little books, they're like quite chunky books, you get so used to their style and how they describe the characters and the things they make the characters say and do, that for someone else to just be able to get that is, yeah, it's just fantastic. So I really enjoyed catching up with the characters again. It's been probably a year since I finished reading the Elizabeth Jane Howard ones, but she does such a good job of recreating the voices of the characters. I instantly felt like I knew who all the characters were, and I didn't have to keep like looking back and reminding myself who everyone was, because they felt like the same people. So if you've not read the other books, I think you'd struggle. I do think there's a lot of background that you kind of need to know to enjoy this new one. But if you do like the Casaleys, I definitely recommend giving it a try. It's out in September or October, I think, and it's called The Golden Years by Louisa Young. So when I finished that, I'd ordered a book from the library because on my lunch breaks, I like to listen to a podcast. I only get a half-hour lunch break, so there's not really much you can do, and I can't leave where I work. So I've been listening to podcasts, and I was listening to the Legacy podcast, and it was a 4-part about Charles Dickens and his life, which was absolutely fascinating. Apart from maybe A Christmas Carol, I've never read a Charles Dickens book. I say all the way through. I don't think I've even tried to start one. But hearing about his life was really interesting. And he wasn't particularly nice to his wife. So it turns out that an author, I've got the book here to show you, very recently wrote a book called Mrs. Dickens. And the author was Emily Howes. And this is the Radio 2 Book Club logo. So it has been quite well known, I think, and it was featured on the Radio 2 Book Club. When was it written? Or when was it published? So it's from this year, 2026. And it's Emily Howes, Mrs. Dickens. And it's absolutely brilliant. I'm really enjoying it. It's told from 2 points of view. So it's Mrs. Dickens, Kate, his wife, and also a lady called Anne, who becomes the lady's maid for the family and forms like a really close bond with Mrs. Dickens. So I only got it last week, and I've got under 100 pages left. The words are quite big. It's not like I'm battling through something with little teeny tiny writing. But it's great. It just brings it to life, and having listened to the podcast about Charles Dickens and his life, it's really quite fascinating to almost hear about it from a different point of view. She does say in the back that some not liberties, she's made some slight changes to chronology, or she's obviously had to invent conversations and things, but it is primarily based in fact. And I didn't have an opinion about Charles Dickens to begin with, but I'm forming one now, and I don't think he's actually a very nice man. But this is a library book, and it's a big hardback one, so it's not one to be carrying around, and yeah, you'd struggle to take it on your holidays unless you had loads of room in your suitcase. I assume it'll be out in paperback soon enough, but yeah, if you like historical fiction, I'd definitely recommend this one. It's a nice straightforward read, but it's a fascinating insight to Charles Dickens, and I feel really sorry for his wife sometimes. A lot of the time. Yes, he wasn't very nice to her sometimes. So yeah, that's what I'm reading now. I'm probably going to start another NetGalley book after this one. I've been granted access to the new book by Cathy Rentzenbrink. I think she's a journalist, and she often writes books about books. So her new one that's coming out later this year is called The Agatha Christie Cure, and it's all about basically how Agatha Christie books fit into her life. And I do love an Agatha Christie. I have read quite a lot of them, and I totally agree with them actually being quite soothing. I know they're about murders, but there's something quite comforting about the fact that the murderer always gets caught, even though I'm terrible at guessing who the murderer is. But I'll talk about that book a bit more when I've actually read it, because I might not like it. I'm sure I will, but yeah, I'll talk about that a bit more when I've read it. So that's it from me for today. Yeah, is it 10 to 1? I've been talking quite a bit longer this time. I guess once I get started, I just waffle, don't I? Sorry if this is all a bit like stoppy and starty. I keep losing my train of thought. I even got a notebook out and I was going to make notes and I haven't. So sorry if this is all a bit all over the place. I'm going to get this uploaded onto YouTube and I'll try and work out how to put links and things onto it for you as well. So if you do like this video, which I hope you do, please like it or subscribe if you'd like to do that. And yeah, it's been lovely to hear from so many people and have so many nice comments, and yeah, I'm just blown away by it all. So thank you very, very much, and I will see you again very soon.